Mindless chatter, we're your station.
KBBL Talk Radio, and now Springfield's favorite conservative and author of the well-selling book Only Turkeys Have Left Wings. Ladies and gentlemen, Birch Barlow.
Good morning, fellow freedom likers. Birch Barlow, the fourth branch of government.
I never heard Rush cross his dad. Never did. He was quiet. Rush always wanted to be an adult. In fact, I think from 10 on, he was an adult. He did not want to be bothered with childish things. He was a loner.
Did he date?
No, he did not date in high school. I think he didn't even go to his senior prom because he was working.
Avon calling. Yes, she's your Avon representative. A good friend, a good neighbor. Don't you wish you were this happy, resourceful woman? And look at her jeweled pin, a reward for success. She's in the beauty business, representing Avon, the world's largest cosmetic company.
This army is fighting with facts as its only weapons. And the whole army knows that to be better informed is to be better armed. For help towards informing ourselves first and then others, we established a publishing division. It is now turning out books and pamphlets with a retail value of about $4 million per year.
She's going, looking so smart and competent. Everyone knows her. She's well liked in her community. Now see whether you guessed correctly.
In the case of local chapters, we expect each chapter leader to get all of his or her members together at least once a month, and in many cases often, as well as on any special occasions which make such a meeting advisable. And we expect the chapter leader to be in quite continuous contact with his or her members to whatever extent may be necessary in order to pass on or receive information and to carry out various concerted efforts as requested from headquarters. Next to the members themselves, our hardworking, dedicated, and long-suffering chapter leaders are the very backbone of the society. They are volunteers who serve without any pay or even reimbursement of expenses. Next above them, also serving as volunteers, are our section leaders, each of whom attends the monthly meetings of and acts as a general advisor to from 5 to 10 chapters in his area. Many of them also make recruitment presentations and perform other functions of a volunteer coordinator. And we have hundreds of these section leaders who are dedicating a tremendous percentage of their time, their energy, and their lives to the growth and the work of the John Birch Society.
She brings you cosmetics for the whole family, and she invites you to have an Avon try-on to be sure. Your Avon representatives will be delighted to call on you wherever you live. Just get in touch with us at Avon. Avon calling.
We also serve as very sizable distributors of the conservative books and reprints of approximately 100 other publishers. And our members now operate some 350 reading rooms that sell books scattered throughout the country, most of them under the name of American Opinion Libraries.
Now's our chance. He must not reach his ship, General.
So you understand where the John Birch Society came from when these enemies of liberty just demonize them and say lies about them with no proof. Understand why? Because they know it's a real organization trying to defend this republic. And without them folks, Ron Paul and myself, we would not have known all this info. I'm telling you, they were the launch pad for the entire giant resistance today. And everybody should be a part of the John Birch Society, or at least get their materials, because they're the best you're going to find anywhere.
It's the Chomcast!
Meet George Jetson.
Gentlemen, hello. Hello. Are we still good? Everybody on?
Yeah.
George?
I'm on.
You can't really set up like
Okay.
a scheduled shit.
Yeah, I know, but if you have to work Saturday, what I'm saying is you don't want to do it Friday, because if you work Saturday, you're going to be tired.
Do it live. We'll fucking do it live. No,
We're doing this shit live now.
Yeah, I was just referring to good old.
To your
O'Reilly.
boy, dude. Your boy who totally didn't touch somebody but still gave him $23 million, you know?
Yeah, I tried suing him too, but O'Reilly?
Dude, there's a non-disclosure agreement somewhere that has the details, but
he had that show on Fox forever.
Yeah, dude, the O'Reilly zone, the no spin zone, dude. Yeah, don't get the no spin zone. He swore that he was giving it to you straight, Jack.
Have you guys? Well, that's why he got in trouble because he was trying to get the girl it straight.
I heard through a grapevine there was a black girl, and that he should be extra feisty with the black girls.
Have you guys watched any of that QAnon show on HBO?
No, it's out already.
It's fucking boring.
Is it?
Oh, I don't care.
I watched one episode and it was all right.
I was so fucking bored of it.
Yeah.
But it's not their fault. I think it's boring just because it's so like huge. It's so much bullshit that he has to like jump around. Like, okay, we're here 5 years in the future, and then we're 5 years in the past, and go 10 years back, and then go 3 years forward.
I think that's the reason they like get so much promotion with it too. You know what I mean? I've talked to a couple of people, and they're like, "What? I don't know about that." But then again, I mean, you covered something like that because you kind of have to too, right? I mean, it's not just out of promoting them or you're pushing them.
At this
point,
look,
out there.
It was they tried to ignore them. You know, my own brother was saying, and he's right wing, and thinks himself a patriot and a conservative and whatnot. He was like, "Oh, QAnon's just Reddit shit," and I was like, "No, it's not." He's like, "Yeah, it is, dude. You don't fucking know." Because he's hanging out with actual kind of like he's either hanging out with people who don't know shit about politics, or he's hanging out with people that are actually kind of somewhat the system who are disregarding it.
Flat Earth,
you know. No, more like people like in local government, like local Republican business owners. You know, they don't see it, or they didn't want to bring it up. But I don't know. That's the mystery there, right? Like, is there something like, I think there's something deeper. I think they're using QAnon to kind of like throw up smoke to then operate in and recruit in for just straight white militia nationalism. It's and they use the guise of that stuff.
Yeah, but in the end, I don't think it'll catch on.
I feel like that's the contact. I think it already did catch on.
I don't think so. I think, like I said, I think they promote it so much because they latch onto an idea. Most of the news networks, and they just go with it. It's like they repeat that fucking little squirrel, on the little what.
There's people in the Imperial Valley that are QAnon.
No, sure. There's people everywhere. There's people at my work that are fucking QAnon.
Yeah, that's how big it is. It's big.
That's the thing. It's not. They're yelling and screaming it because they're the minority. Because they want the attention, and they're giving them that attention because they're so extreme. It serves a purpose.
Our old station manager is QAnon.
Who?
Chuck and I used to do a radio show. Our station manager is QAnon.
Yeah, he told me about that shit. I thought I was weird, dude. But hey,
wow.
I mean, some of the people I know that are into it, I'm like, really? You're fucking into it? You like
Aldo?
Aldo, yeah. Yes, he's into it. There's a couple other people.
There's people in Congress that are into it. So you're taking these percentages that I'm giving you and spread it across the United States. If we know a couple.
Okay, out of the whole
and we're not in that circle.
Give me a percentage.
Yeah. Fuck, I want to say, 20?
Really? I'd say 5.
Maybe like 15, 20, yeah. No.
Honestly,
no, it got big. It got huge, dude. Think about it like these people. Okay, so let's go back in time to when Donald Trump was trying to buy the Buffalo Bills. You guys remember that?
Yeah, no. Before he started his league?
Yeah, he was like in a different league, right? And they're saying he helped bring down that league because he wanted this team to go into the NFL, and he made a
tried
big
suing the
scandal.
NFL.
But then he was trying to buy, yeah, and then he was trying to buy the Buffalo Bills, but so was Bon Jovi, right?
Oh yeah.
And he ran a slander campaign against Bon Jovi, where he's like using the same tactics, dude. Ridicule, mockery. The radio stations were doing like mock versions of Bon Jovi songs, making fun of him, and making Trump look cool and stuff like that. Like he was like your hero, similar to the thing he did, and when he was a WWE superstar. He was playing that role. Think about the audience, though. This is my point. The audience is WWE fans. The audience is football fans.
So they're in for the show.
Something like that, yeah. That's who he knows how to work.
No, they're not the fans.
That's
There's a
his
full word
strength.
on fanatic. Not just fans.
Okay, yeah. So that's how QAnon, that's the thing. That's who QAnon's grabbing, and they're out there, dude. They happen to be like 50% of the population, I think. I mean, they're the 50% that's just completely non-political. Not saying they're bad people. Well, that's what they say, right? Only 50% of the eligible population to vote, that's registered to vote, and then from between that, it's 25%, more or less, right? Yeah, it's something like 50%.
That's the highest fucking number.
I know. Yeah.
You're talking about, let's say,
sports people.
200.
How many sports people transition casually from sports to politics when you're talking to them, or do they tell you like hey man, no religion, no politics rule?
Not many.
They're the rule people. They're the ones that tell you, oh, we can't talk about this at a party, guys. Come on, come inside and play beer pong. Yeah, okay. Yes, my lord. But
that was
big,
before, dude.
So that's huge.
That's ended.
Yeah, and then so they activated Trump. That's who Trump activated. That's who he reaped. He knows. They know what they're doing. They figured it out.
Like with the whole thing with
they had a plan.
Baseball league right now with the MLB.
Yeah.
About them leaving at Georgia or Atlanta where they were going to have it.
Yeah.
What they don't realize is that, you know what, all these companies are going to go for the fucking people that buy most of the product, and most of the product is being bought by middle America, the ones that really aren't too political, the ones that don't. They ain't got time to really worry about this shit. They go work and that's it.
Yeah. Yeah. Even I think the majority of the people of America aren't going to fall for this stuff forever, but there's those fanatics, right? Which Eric is saying, it's a large number, and I kind of have to agree with him. It's teetering towards that, like 5, 10, 15% of the population, maybe even 20.
I think it's overblown because they're so loud about it. They take up so much. They garner a lot of attention.
But they're not. They're not.
Shut up.
They're really not.
I mean, you're not wrong. They are loud and obnoxious.
Not all of them. Not all of them.
They're like, I think of them as like juggalos. Like they have that flair to them.
Well, they have that flair because we know one guy or we know two people, so of course they're gonna be loud. But as a group, I don't think they're loud at all, considering there's people like the NRA.
There's different levels of them, right? I guess.
Well, they won't even, from what I've heard from them, is like they won't even really they won't agree much on many things. They just agree like on one thing, the conspiracy, and that's about it. Some will, be more about the adrenochrome. Some will be more about the child raping thing, or some of them will, the whole Democrats are fucking blood drinking.
Yeah, some people, yeah.
But that's the whole thing. That whole thing is all encompassing. Like you could believe flat Earth, and you're part of Q. You know what I mean? Because he goes into that.
Yeah.
It's a slippery slope. You can believe in ghosts.
Because you're going after fanatics, right?
Well, if anything,
you can believe in religion.
After...
We talked about this last week. People that are religious tend to fall into stuff like that.
Dividing us. And
not just any religion, though. Specifically, evangelical type religions.
Yes.
So so believe it or not, but Nation of Islam people have fallen for QAnon conspiracies.
Sure.
Well, Nation of Islam is a very
anti-Semitic.
Yeah, They're a pretty extreme sect. It's not like
Well,
regular Islam.
Nah. Yeah.
Yeah, he is. Farrakhan's still alive. It's the other one.
Yeah,
It's,
Farrakhan's
something
still
Muhammad.
going. Elijah Muhammad
is the
died.
one that's fast.
Yeah.
And may have killed you know who, but I don't want to say that. I don't want to get killed by you know who.
Well, did you see the guy that ran into the barricades at the Capitol?
Yeah, dude. That's why I bring it up.
Sorry, I'm sorry.
I think it's relevant. I think it's relevant. That's the kind of people they're targeting. They're going after the fanatics of the fanatical. They're bringing them all in. So give me your crazies. And they're like, all right.
Well,
We already milked them.
The thing is that I think we're so divided in this country that we'll fall for that kind of shit. We're so wanting to be together that they'll find a group or a crowd or whatever you want to call it and fall right in with them. And as soon as you hear everybody being positive about the shit that you're with, you're like, oh,
Yeah.
right, cool.
It feels good, dude. Positive reinforcement. Someone telling you, like, yeah, you're not a crazy pill, man. They are eating fucking babies. You're like, oh, I fucking knew it.
It's an echo chamber. It's an echo chamber because we're getting into our computers more and more. We're becoming more divided but more united online. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like running cows through chutes. They think it's just the one cow, but they all end up in the same chute. You know what I mean? Because once you get them through the tubes, they're all together. Like if you got a guy like, our friend that believes that vaccines are a chip. You know what I mean? He's gonna talk to other people and follow other
parts
people.
per trillion. They don't understand that. I mean, you separate salt, sodium and chloride. That's gonna kill you either one. But you put them together, and you can't live without salt. They focus in on those little things where there's some truth in it. But then you start going so far out of it, you know what I mean? You start questioning and shit.
Yeah. It's the same as multi-level marketing. They're telling you truthful things, like being motivated is good. You know, having goals is great. You know, having financial independence is fantastic. You know, but they just want to take your money and your mom's money and your cousin's money.
Here's the thing. I had a conversation with somebody yesterday about like some fucking commercial came on about like one of those medicines and I'm like, why are they promoting fucking medicine on TV? Should your fucking doctor be the one telling you that? Oh wait, we already had this conversation. I don't know.
Yeah, but it's gone. Last week was all air. Remember?
Just like right now.
Is that my fault?
No, it's recording right now.
No, but it's all air is what I'm saying.
Air,
but you know what I mean.
Like wind?
Like there was nothing. It's 3 hours of silence.
Like hot wind.
It was like 3.5 hours of silence, and I was clicking and clicking and clicking and clicking. I was like, no, where'd it go?
It's all good. It's all good. No, that was because I spoke his name, who shall not be spoken, too many times.
Yeah.
I cursed it. He was like,
well, we already said a name. We fucked up already.
Jesus.
That's how Danny did it. That was
a
good impression.
We're gonna lose it again.
Damn it. God damn it.
Don't bring up the Minotaur.
I won't. That's it. I'm done. I didn't say nothing.
General
like a phantom. But no, so Donald Trump and the Q base, it's big and popular and widespread.
Like his hands.
It's kind of like the evil version or like the disgusting meth version of Captain Planet. And they brought all these fools together and like they gave us Trump because people were sleeping on these groups, dude. People had written them off. That's why the election.
Well, that's why he won. Yeah.
Exactly.
Because people are like, oh, I'm not going to go vote. I'm not fucking getting
He got
elected.
the woodworks. He got people out the woodworks.
I think we have it wrong. I think that's saying that that's like the whole chicken or the egg. Honestly, I think Trump was there and ready to win before QAnon started. I think he was the reason it started.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It wasn't that QAnon was there and they focused on Trump.
Well, no.
Or that Trump was there and he got QAnon started. I think it's the other way around. I think QAnon was there and they were looking for somebody to put it on. And of course they're going to put it on the guy that's,
Well, it seems like those circles are all flocking. Yeah, go ahead, Chuck. Sorry.
Oh, no, I'm just going to say, I think it's the anxiety of the people losing power, if you will, or losing the grip or the majority or whatever you want to say it. It was just
the Obama effect, the Obama reaction. Yeah.
I honestly think this is when it started. Was Tea Party. That's what I honestly do think it started. Was with the Tea Party.
That was one of the incarnations of
That
it.
was part of it. But the Tea Party has its hands in Ron Paul and the John Birch Society.
Yeah,
So there's like
those.
The longer. Yeah, but they're very influential. You know, these people are very influential because they're basically, imagine them like as the top part of the pyramid scheme. You know, these guys know how the game works. They know how to recruit people and turn people into fanatics. Once you make people a fanatic, just like juggalos, once you make a juggalo, right? Because they want you to multiply, right? The whole purpose of being a fucking juggalo is to try to convince everyone to be a fucking juggalo, right? And they wear it, dude. Juggalos will paint their fucking face just to let you know they're down with the clown, right? Their shirt down with the clown.
Yeah,
I'm like the side saying that
I don't
about
know.
the other side. It's like they play the same card over and over. You know, we're the inculcated ones. We're the blind ones. We're the not into.
We're the ones that don't know the research.
Well, I'm saying that they are specific. They know how to target people that are going to be fanatical and go spread it. Like they're aware of how to do it. You know,
George, I need you to turn on your camera because I'm worried you're taking a shit. I just speak to us.
I'm not taking a shit. I'm just saying that because, like, just like you said, Eric, that it's been there. You know, this type of stuff has been there, and with the Ron Paul. Remember when Ron Paul got hot? That's when they all realized something was up, and Trump was already involved
a little bit
with Roger Stone. So they use QAnon. QAnon is something that they like specifically those circles brought together to try to help Trump get elected.
You know what I was looking back at some shit, reading some stuff, and you know, Perot wasn't that bad.
Who? Ron Paul?
No, Perot.
Perot.
That's because you're getting older. You're like
no. What I liked about him, he was really coming out with the whole the establishment thing that he was against it, and it was basically that. It was because you'd see what Gore and Bush were talking was basically the same point. You know what I mean? The whole thing about bringing us back, about trade, about immigration and shit like that. They were just different incarnations. The whole guy not selling it was fucking Perot. Although I don't really know much about him, didn't read much about him or where he came from and all that shit, but it just seemed like it was a better. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
It wasn't the same. He was shooting from a different angle. I don't know how to put it here. It was basically that whole I'm the same guy but wearing a different suit kind of shit. He came in there, kind of pushed that idea. I mean, I still wouldn't have voted for him. But,
right.
Oh, because Ross Perot was. You're saying Ross Perot was like the Donald Trump of that era.
Kind of. I'm getting that vibe. I'm getting that vibe because
you're saying like he's saying I'm an insider but an outsider because I'm the insider that knows.
Well, I'm an insider.
No, he said he was an outsider.
But he's rich though. But he's the rich businessman appeal. He's the common sense approach. He's like.
But he was a self-made man. He wasn't a inheritance guy. His dad didn't come by. Like I said, I haven't read it much into him, so I don't know.
Yeah, he might say that, but who knows? Well, but even then, he's still. I mean, I don't know enough. I might have to look into that now that you bring it up. Yeah. But I will look into it. In fact, I'm gonna look into his policies, where they come from, see who supported him, because the Reform Party, because he was a Reform Party candidate, right?
Or I don't know if it was Reform. Reform was Forbes, wasn't it?
I thought it was Buchanan, maybe.
I think was.
No. I'm sorry. He was during Clinton's era. No.
Yeah. So was Ron Paul ran in '94.
Yeah. My bad.
Nader's big thing was in 2000 with.
Yeah, Nader was in between Gore and Bush.
Yeah. So this was the election before that, the re-election of Clinton, because that one everyone blames Perot for the swing towards Clinton.
Yeah.
because he stole a bunch of that conservative message, you know. But is it like, what kind of conservatism? You know, is it the conservatism of the Koch brothers, of Turning Point USA? Is it this kind of like, you know, fake kind of conservatism? It's really just corporatism wrapped and fucking grandpa's fucking, you know, Uncle Sam's or whatever.
It's just people getting tired of the same rhetoric. That's what I think got even Donald Trump elected. It's like, and they saw
he recycled that shit. Yeah, he recycled that stuff. But he recycled a lot of Reagan, and Reagan, they're saying Reagan recycled a lot of kind of Bircherisms that were popular.
Yeah, the whole big government shit isn't.
Yeah,
and the Republicans spend a hell of a lot more.
Yeah.
Well, he was like an informant for them.
He was big, and that's what they noticed, that he resonated in like rural America. And it was over, because I think what I'm thinking is, so Robert Welch Jr. said there was 300 locations throughout the U.S., right? And he was saying this in like the 60s. I think maybe like 69, so like the end of the 60s. And each one had like 10 to 20 core members, you know, who all paid out of pocket. I'm guessing they're all well-to-do people. From what I see from the John Birch Society, because I dug up on Getty Images. I went through like stock images of them, and they have camps. They had these camps, and there was like photographs from one of these camps, and they're talking to people, and there's some like interview in there, you know, like find some of the articles, and the kids stay there for like so it's like a summer camp, and they learn about like liberty and the communists and all that stuff. So I think they've been laying that groundwork at like a real grassroots level, you know. Who's bankrolling it? Well, it's these kind of rich guys, you know. What's the core message of John Birch Society? It's low taxes, basically, you know what I mean? More freedom for corporations, you know what I'm saying? So taxes are commies, duh. So they get these like hard line, and they hate NATO. They absolutely hate NATO. When Ron Paul when he gives the keynote address at the thing like 2012 John Birch Society annual meeting, when he says, "And every year I put a resolution in the House to get us out of NATO," everyone stood up. Fucking long applause, fool. And this fool soaked it in too. This fool soaked it in, and I was like, that's it. That's the one thing I've always noticed. Like when they start hating on NATO, I'm just like, sounds like some Russia Chinese bullshit. Like they just want like, and it just seems weird. I shouldn't say that. But I just feel like it would benefit, you know, like larger foreign powers or something. But that's neither here nor there. But they're spreading that idea, and it's just really taking. It's like a whole subculture, I guess I'm trying to get to. Being a Bircher and being a patriot in this way, it's got a whole subculture to it, you know? They do things their own way, and they look at America through a different lens. And they feel themselves like they're on the boat on the Delaware, dude, basically, you know what I'm saying? Like they're right there with Captain George Washington, dude. Like, I'm on North Pole, we got attack on Christmas. Let's go. No shoes,
but
coat.
I think all this stuff was set up, and it's in our system from the beginning. As soon as we start believing in religion, and we're installed these beliefs of stuff that's not empirical that you can test, you're setting yourself up to believe something more. Because if you're willing to believe there's a man in the sky, then you're willing to believe that there's, you know, if you believe that there's an all good thing, then you got to believe that there's an all bad thing. So from there, would you believe that these people are drinking kids' blood to stay young and in power? Yeah, you know what I mean? Of course, you'll be like, oh, I've heard that. And then you just put the echo out there. Yeah. Well, they need fear. They need the fear. Just like Jonestown.
Their community has a lot of pressure too. There's a lot of pressure involved in these things, right?
Yeah, but
they're preying up. They already. They don't have to pray that hard. You know, that's why I was telling the whole concept of the salesman. To them, one thing is to sell, and to like sell your stuff. Like if Chuck became a Bircher all of a sudden, I'd be like, damn, that guy was good. Got him into Bircher. Or Chuck turned into a fascist. I was like, damn, that was quick. You know what I mean?
He's halfway there, but yeah.
Yeah, but you know what I mean? Like, you know how hard it is? Like, you know what I mean? Or if you're a hardcore scientist, all of a sudden you started preaching God. You know what I mean? Then somebody just sold you.
So they're
That's
fucking,
what I'm talking about. But
they're Jehovah's Witnesses, basically.
no, what I'm saying, no, because they're Jehovah's Witnesses, but the people that they're visiting are already willing to open the door. They're just waiting for the knock. That's all I'm trying to say. Is our society, most of our society, is built on that somebody there is gonna teach me the truth. You already have that blind faith. All they're doing is showing you which way to point it.
Right. Yeah.
Especially
and that's
right
why they
now
went
with
after...
the pandemic, with all the stuff that's going, like the fear mongering, all that stuff. All it's doing is making it more like the pandemic was huge. That's what brought QAnon even bigger. The whole, because all of a sudden people are just looking online and they're only finding their algorithm that's already pointing them to the same direction.
Well,
that's why our friends, because although, like, Frank Sinatra wasn't that far out, I don't think. I mean, he was into like mysticism and spirituality, but he wasn't saying like, oh, they're trying to chip you or they're trying to manipulate. You know what I mean?
Look, that's what I don't understand. Why do you need a chip when you got a cell phone? You know what I mean? You don't need a chip in you.
You know what that is? That's a cognitive dissonance test.
No, yes, very much so.
If they're going to bring you in, you got to have that turned off.
Yeah,
so you got to have your cognition. Well, you got to have the cognition switched off so there's no cognitive dissonance. You only hear one thing. It's impossible for you to have dissonance with only one sound. And they only hear one sound. And will only listen. They will never, ever. They already know these people will never, ever venture out.
Well, yes, because you don't know the truth. They do.
Yeah. So while they're storming the Capitol, live streaming, they're worried about being chipped to be tracked.
You know what I didn't get about that?
Bro.
Why did they wait so long to show the real bad footage of it? Like when I first saw it, I was like, "What? That wasn't that bad." But then, like a month after it, they started showing some bad footage of it.
Check it. You know what? I should have recorded more, dude. I was watching that shit live, dude. Like I went about like in the morning. I already knew it was going down. And Chuck, you probably can remember, we have calls on like, dude, they're being set up. I think the whole thing, like there's these bad characters involved that are setting these people up. They want them to be violent, and you're like, yeah, it sounds like that shit. And on that day, dude, I knew it was going down, dude. I went and bought cigarettes and beer early. And I had all like the 4chan fucking links going. Yeah, let's watch the show, dude. And like, I heard when there was like explosions the first time, some kind of gunshots. People were like, "Whoa, was that gunshot? The explosion!" And I'm like, "Why are these Capitol Police not beating ass right now?" But then I saw like an establishing shot, like some fool was up there because like the way these live streams work, there's some fool sitting at a computer like me, and he's got like a switchboard basically. He's got a whole bunch at once, and he'll have one big once in a while. He'll switch out the big one. And like when I saw the crowd, I was like, holy shit, there's a shit ton of people there. Like if they start swinging, they're gonna get fucking wrecked on. Because like I noticed a lot of them didn't have guns. It looked like they had like sticks and shields. It didn't. Yeah, a lot of like the ones outside. Like,
bro, it's like sheep. They're there. They don't realize that some of the people that are there are crazy because it's a mob mentality. And some of them are willing, but some are willing to go further just because there's other people around.
But there's people. Somebody falls down, looks like he's having a heart attack. People won't react. There might be that one person that will, but not until that one person reacts are they all going to rush in. Just like that one lady that got pushed by somebody outside of a store or something like that. They showed it. And people were just sitting there with the fucking phones or just looking at the incident going down. You know what I mean? Instead of going over there, maybe, what the fuck, or getting in the middle of it. You have to have like the mob mentality of like, okay, now that they help, I can help kind of shit, or I can get involved instead of just going, well, fuck that. I need to help this person. It's harder to get in there by yourself.
I think my big issue with the Capitol insurrection, honestly, is that they were there. So they're already halfway there. You know what I mean? As soon as they started breaking in, they should have bought. The normal people, Like if I was there and shit started going down, I'd be like, oh damn, shit's going down. I'm gonna pull back a little bit. Normal people, like they say, we're regular Americans. We're regular Americans. They're not regular Americans if they're continuing in, because they're like, oh wow, look at us, we're all doing it. They already think that where we go one, we go all mentality. They're already brainwashed.
Yeah,
They're just following in. And I think, and honestly, I think that like they were talking about how what's their names, the 1%ers and those militias.
It's los tres leches, fool. 3%ers.
Yeah, I think those guys
and oath keepers.
Those guys were like, yeah, the oath keeper. I think these guys were there because they saw there was going to be a crowd there. So they're like, let's push the sheep. Let's keep it going. Since we're going to get in. Just like the Benghazi thing, honestly. Like the Benghazi thing, I think it was an honest protest. And then once other people that are bad saw there was an honest protest, then they got in. That's what I think. And once you see that they're getting away with it, other people that are there to cause shit are going to do it. They already swallowed half the pill. All they're going to do is drink the Kool-Aid. That's what I think. That's my opinion.
Yeah.
They're just waiting for it. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They don't get involved with somebody else who gets involved, you know?
And I think
it's easier to go follow. It's easier to follow than just stand up and say, boom, you know?
But there's all those people now that think that's the majority.
Feel right. Feel vindicated, if you will. It's like somebody told me about guns, and I'm like, well, if you don't need guns don't kill people, then you don't need them to protect you. I know that's a little...
Oh, we were talking about that, remember?
Oh, were we?
Yeah, we were talking about the guns don't kill people mentality.
Yeah.
I kill people.
Yeah. And they get so, you know, most of the people that get really fringy about that shit, they already own like 80 fucking guns. Well, maybe that's a lot, but they own...
Well, my thing is if you own more than one gun and they're getting bigger, then you're already on that precipice that you're thinking of killing somebody. You can call it whatever you want. You can call it home protection. You're already thinking. Once you think home protection, you're like, if somebody breaks, you already got that.
You
fear.
want to, yeah.
You're already halfway there. Yeah.
Want to.
Yeah, but there's those people. There's those people that'll say, "Oh yeah, well, I got a knife. Why don't they regulate knives?"
Yeah,
like they're trying to compare you getting stabbed to you getting shot.
That's when you bring out a gun. That's when you bring out a gun and you throw them a knife. You're like, all right, let's find out.
Let's get down.
Find out real quick, fool. Let's find out real quick, Poppy.
Yep. But they
want. Yeah, but I think even then, even the people that own, you know, what I mean, there's people that own knives because they like them, that like edged wear. One thing is to like it, but if you're already thinking of like, if somebody breaks in, I'm going to use this one. I'm getting this. You already have that mentality, that fear mentality, like I'm going to take somebody's life.
Yeah.
Even if it's self-defense, but you're already thinking.
But I don't think not all gun owners are like that, for sure, dude.
No,
I don't know what the numbers break down, but
once again,
I'm not saying that all gun owners are like that. I'm just saying the people that own more than maybe one or two regular guns.
Yeah, the people that
once you start seeing guns as pornography, that's and a lot of people see guns.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, I mean, once you start
growing
loving,
up, we had probably like five firearms in our home, right? And we grew up like doing karate type stuff, jiu-jitsu, and we had wooden swords in our rooms in case someone broke in, because we were about not murdering people over property. Same thing in the car. Like if we're getting carjacked, like we're just giving the car up. My dad's like, I'm not even gonna reach for the gun that's down there. That's just, you know, it's only for like a different situation. If we're getting carjacked, like we're trying to get out of the car alive. You know, you don't
pay any attention to the Floyd trial.
Just the highlights.
Floyd trial, but
just like the fucking super emotional.
Chauvin.
Yeah, George Floyd's death. Fucking yeah. Anthony? Is his name Anthony?
Right, though. Something Chauvin. Derek,
that's it. Derek Chauvin or some shit.
The police officer?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, he's toast, dude. I like the UFC guy, the fighter guy, MMA guy.
I don't know if he's toast, man.
He's toast, dude.
Remember, they have that immunity. The reason I think George is right is because they have detectives from his own workplace.
Oh no, that guy came out. That guy did come out. I think he was like an ex-chief or something higher up on
well, he's a detective.
Force. Was he a detective?
Yeah, he's a homicide detective.
Wait, not a private.
And
not a private one, right?
No, he worked at the police force, and he's the one that said, "This is what do you call it?
Way too much."
lethal force.
Yeah. He didn't need to do
once
that.
you have your own, that means that honestly, I think the police
Look,
department
to
in
me,
the city.
Plain and simple. The reason I'm a little bit disheartened by it is because it's still a jury trial, right?
Yeah.
And what happened with King? King, you saw them officers beating the shit out of him. The cops still got off.
That's true, but Rodney King didn't
die. One
die.
person.
Rodney King didn't die, dude.
You got a point. You got a point.
Yeah.
But still, I mean.
But a lot of them
one
did.
person
Breonna
on that
Taylor.
Just that one person
Breonna Taylor died. Yeah. Breonna Taylor died, and everybody got scot-free.
Yeah.
And they shot in, no knock warrant. The guy, they were trying to make the guy look dirty, but all he did was fire a warning shot, and these guys blasted.
Yeah,
he didn't even shoot.
It just takes one of the jurors to dissent. That's all.
And and the only guy that got in trouble was the guy that shot a bullet out the window. He's the only one because now he's reckless because he shot out the window.
No, he shot through the window. He shot in through the window. He stood outside.
No, he shot out.
No.
He shot out the window.
No, he shot through the window and he shot through. It went through the apartment because he just went straight window and they went to the next people's apartment and wrecked shit. He shot 6 shots or something.
And that's the dude that got in trouble.
Yeah,
not the guys that were actually shooting inside the room. Just the guy that his bullets went out.
Those guys were down the hallway towards her bedroom, lighting her up while she's on the floor, the guy that got in trouble was he ran out and then just shot in. He just started shooting through the windows.
Well, that's reckless.
Totally fucking reckless. But the SWAT team was interviewed and they released that shit and they were like, the real SWAT team was like, man. They didn't even tell us they were going to do this. They did this all wrong. This is all textbook wrong. These guys are bad. And they still got away with everything, right?
Well, see, that's the thing. It might sound a little
except
cynical,
that one guy.
They don't stop crime. They get there after it happens. You know what I mean? But then again, it has to be committed, I suppose, before you even have a crime. But there's no crime prevention, really. You know what I mean? Nobody gets that.
Well, it's called infrastructure, education, community, all that shit. Churches, fucking non-denominational things, all kinds of things. That's the crime prevention in our society.
Yeah, sure.
Well, here's the issue.
That thing too. It's also like prisons, private prisons. Why the fuck? Private prisons?
Yeah, you sending black kids to prison for profit. They're like, brr.
So we need more criminals, or else how the hell am I going to be able to employ all these people? I'm bringing jobs to the community,
That's how they might see it, dude. It's pretty twisted. I think at the core, it's obviously got to be some type of racism, some kind of hatred.
Was it Biden or somebody had proposed that they were going to stop? Oh, they were going to slow down or cut off the fucking the private prisons.
He did federally. He cut it off. Biden did.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
But that's nothing. That's federal.
No.
Nothing.
I'm talking about private. Somebody said.
He did.
Private.
He stopped contracts with private prisons federally.
I ain't got no problem with that. No, he didn't. He couldn't do it at a state level. You're right. That's up to the state.
But I think the biggest issue, and I think George touched on it too, was these police officers, like the Breonna Taylor. I think a lot of the reasons people didn't find them guilty, I don't agree with it, is because they were put in that situation. So that's what they're using as like, hey, it's not their fault. They're just there to do their job. It's like saying, oh, it's not you know what I mean? You can't. It's like having a bulldog. You know what I mean? They're like, that's what they're justifying. It's not. They were put in this dangerous situation. They heard a shot. Of course, they're going to defend themselves.
Well, you know what I mean? All the other officers collaborating too. You're not going to sell out your fellow officer either. You're going to go with it. You know what I mean?
Well, look at
they did get in trouble for that, right? Like they were trying to block.
Right now, that's what's going on. That's why I think it's different. I think right now, I think the powers that are like, you know what? We have to give up blood on this one in order to protect the rest of the system.
Well,
we're gonna have to sell this too.
Jesus Christ! This was the tipping point. Obviously, This is
they're
Rodney
all
King
very sad.
2.0, dude. This is Rodney King
They're all really
2.0.
sad.
All the
Every
time.
single one. The guy that got shot in the back.
Every single time. It happens all the time with us. We like even with this thing with the fucking COVID. All of a sudden the rates start dropping. Everybody's like, "Yay, we can get back to it, brother," and then they fucking rise again. It's like we subtly just forget about the little things. We're living in the present kind of shit. That's why we don't build infrastructure either, because we want it now. I don't want I can't think of my grandchildren, what they're gonna need in the future. I want to see this thing now. That's why it's so hard to let go of oil or any of those energy producing now.
It's too big. It's too big to fail. Oil is too big to fail. Is the mentality right now.
Well, so are the banks.
Look at all those
right?
people in Texas.
That's right.
Yeah, look at the banks. Yeah.
Socialism.
They're like, these dinosaurs can't die. That's what's going on now.
They were
Because all of a
lying,
sudden,
though.
because they've
They're
been
just
around so
lobbying
long.
that
Oh, no.
message out. Yeah.
Of course they are. They're getting paid to do it. Or you know what? It's sad, but they may believe that because that's the way
Nah,
they
they
were
don't
brought
believe
up back
that.
in the 50s. You know what I mean?
Nah, they don't believe. They know, dude. You can't be. You have to know at that level, dude. Otherwise, you're not gonna make good calls. You gotta know
No, I
your
know,
hustle,
but
dude.
people were
The study one that the best people that make like the fucking Wall Street investors, or I'm sorry, the guys that stock can will tell you buy the stock, sell this stock or whatever, are mainly like the psychopaths. Because I don't know how it works, but they make the better decisions when it comes down to that. Somehow they're so blood cut and dry and thirsty that they see it better. They can make the better investment. They can, I don't know, they're looking out self-interest kind of shit. They're looking out for me,
Exactly.
for my
Yeah.
I mean, and that speaks to somewhat of the whole mentality about the Republicans and the Democrats. Right? I mean, it may be just the little thing that keeps us unaware, but the Republicans are more like me and mine. It seems to
Yeah, we
me.
talked about this last week.
Yeah, okay. Not my bad.
No, keep going. Keep going. We don't have it. Keep going. Remember, we didn't get the recording last week.
It's just basically that mentality of like mine and mine alone, and you guys can suck it. We don't. Why am I worried about those people, all those bums in L.A.? You know what I mean? I don't see any around here. Well, shit, you don't see another person for 3 miles. That's the closest neighbor you got. You don't know what it's like to be around these people every day. You don't see it, so you. But then again, there's the people who are in those situations, and it becomes such a normal thing that it's okay to see a bum. It's okay to see a crime and shit like that.
Part of
desensitized to a point.
But here's where George comes in and starts defending conservatives. Go ahead, George. We did this last week.
There's some good ideas with the conservatives. Don't get me wrong.
Well, I haven't even said what I'm going to say. Let me at least say it.
Look, I'm just saying, it's better to work the middle than it is to be on the extremes either way.
Well,
I may be a people socialist.
This is actually not so much about the surface political stuff, but like the homelessness that we're seeing in places like California. A lot of
here in fucking Colorado too.
Okay, well, it's coming from red states. They have an opioid epidemic. They have that attitude of, you're not taking care of yourself. That's your own fucking shit.
That's what I'm saying. The bigger social contract with everybody else isn't being seen. Look what happened. It's slowly. We used to be able to keep these people at least in shelters and shit like that, but then all of a sudden they got cut off. And I think they sent them to California.
Exactly, they're sending them to California or to New York. They're sending them, right? And usually they come to warm weather. Homeless people get pushed towards warm weather. It's just like their, internal magnetic fucking field. And they come over here and, it's survivable, but it's not our own communities falling apart. So I can see how some people here, kind of overlook it at first. Because you're like, it'll fix itself.
To it. Like, that's what I'm saying. Even the people within California that see it every fucking day, it becomes a normal to them. They're used to seeing the bum. They're used to. It's no longer the extreme of it. You know what I mean? They'll get that attitude of like, well, why the fuck should I help? They're here every day. They don't do nothing for their fucking selves because they can't fucking do anything for their fucking selves.
Well,
I mean, don't get me wrong.
You guys a question.
100% of that. You just did. I don't know what you did. Go ahead.
Is it better to be poor in Utah, in Wyoming, or is it better to be poor in LA or California, Southern California?
Probably
I think
LA.
Southern California.
Yeah, you might. I mean, it
But
depends what you want.
Then the thing is here. It's like
It just
another thing.
depends. It
Let's
depends who
slice it
you
a little
are
bit
too,
more.
man. That's
You're
important
poor,
too.
regardless. You're poor.
Yeah, but are you poor in like a minority and a woman, or are you poor in white? You know, because I know
In
there's a lot of
California, it
homeless
doesn't
people.
matter.
Well, then all the Southern Baptists, there shouldn't be any.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like in Wyoming, if it's me, you know what? Wyoming might not actually be that bad because I could find like a church that'll probably take me in. You know, I could probably find some work.
No,
You know,
you're a fucking bum. You did this to
LA,
yourself.
there's so many. It's already overpopulated with homeless people. You know.
Yeah, but why? Why? You ever ask yourself why?
No, there's
Because
that.
California has California has the better social contract with people.
And
That's
to tell
why.
you the truth, usually,
Well, they're being shipped there too.
Because we'll take them
they're shipping criminals. They're shipping junkies. They're shipping
They're sending
homeless
the
people.
rapists.
They literally
They're
are.
murderers.
They literally
not all of
fucking
them
are.
are bad people.
They're trying to keep their fucking declining fucking states looking good because their policies are failing. You know, and they don't want. And their voters don't admit it, and their voters don't see it. So
well, then that's just painting over it. You're putting a Band-Aid on it. You're just showing your shit.
That's what they've been doing since the Civil War. That's what all these conservative countries have been doing. Reconstruction. Look at all the stuff. This is what they've been doing since the Civil War.
Hold on, maybe.
I mean, it went both ways then too.
Yeah,
like the carpetbagger was
the truth.
The Yankee
because
Doodle.
We go to extremes, like I've said before. That's why FDR came in and did all that shit. And then right after after Eisenhower, maybe it started turning. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah.
Because even Eisenhower.
Well, the big boy shit was done because it was extreme.
And the fucking and these people.
We also had to win a war, I guess, too. Like, how are we gonna beat the Nazis? Like, god damn it, we gotta make a middle class.
Well, you know what? The true thing about that is like
we gotta teach women math. They're like, what? That's how we beat the Nazis? They're like, that's it. That's what the smart boys are saying. They're like, fuck it.
I was having a conversation with somebody. Who's like, look, we're so easily led to extremes in this world. That perfect example is like with World War II. We interned all those Japanese. Well, they weren't Japanese. They were technically citizens of the United States.
Yeah, they were
just
Americans.
simply because they were simply because they were Japanese. Well, of ancient, whatever you want to. I say Japanese. Yeah, they probably couldn't tell the difference, huh? Yeah,
they won't be offended. Japs legit. Like,
but that's why they interned them. And what did they do? They willfully went with this shit. You know what I mean? They're like, okay, but that's ugly.
They took all their assets too. They took a lot of their land and shit.
Yeah, that's true.
Like the Imperial Valley in Mexicali, believe it or not, was like 90% owned, or at least the valley was 90% owned by the Japanese.
No, the Chinese. Like you still go to fucking Mexicali, and it's easier. Really,
well, in the Imperial Valley, Imperial Valley was Japanese owned, like 90% of the land here, and they got taken away.
Well, I know that a lot of the people, basically Mexicali, got established by Chinese people, basically.
I don't know about all that.
Still look at it. No, yeah, a lot of the people they were the railroad workers or whoever that they didn't want in California.
Well, that was a crossing. That was a crossing to get into the United States.
Yeah,
that's how they crossed.
Yeah, but they sent them.
They called it La Chinesca.
Yeah. Why do you think?
Which is now open for business, by the way. They do tours on weekends.
When you go down into Mexicali, what do you see? The fucking big pagoda or the whatever you called it, right there, and there's a sister city to them, and I can't remember what it is, but it says it on
the thing is I think it's also, you have to remember that we're talking about like La Chinesca. It could be a derogatory term by Mexicans.
Yeah, it could be.
Let's call it what it is. It could be Japanese. It could, you know what I mean?
Sí. Well,
that one was definitely primary. That's Chinese though. That's the Chinese were up in Mexicali. Just over here, it was Japanese. Well, I know, but it was mostly Chinese though. It was mostly Chinese.
No, I understand because like,
but I see what you're saying. Like they don't care. They call everyone a fucking Chino. Like they'll call everyone Chino. It don't matter. Pinche Chino.
But then you call them pinche Salvadoreño, and they're like, what? I'm Mexican. I'm like, okay, well, now you know how
No, El
fucking Vietnamese person
Salvadorians
feels
are
when
like
you call them
juggalos
fucking
of
Korean.
Latin America.
Who?
Huh?
Salvadorian?
Yeah, dude. They're like the
Nicaraguan.
because they rap their shit so hard, fool. You're like, shut up already, dude. I don't care. All right,
Well, I
you
mean,
guys are. I like your flag. It's great. What is that? The fucking pyramid? Cool.
well, Central America has been a lot heavily influenced by the fucking banana republics and the CIA shit there.
It's true. Yeah, it's
A
true.
lot of those militias and a lot of those, like Noriega, basically a construct of the CIA in the United States. That he got a little out of control. Don't get me wrong. It's kind of like Hussein got out of the Middle East.
Well, look at MS-13. MS-13 is a gang in the United States. They just shipped the main guys back to El Salvador. That's why it's huge.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's why that's why QAnon has conspiracies that the CIA is running MS-13 gangs through your streets. This is why Tucker Carlson can go on the air and be like, "They're coming for you," and everyone's like, "Ooh, they are." Like they're gonna send these wild attacks on us. The CIA is gonna
because they're not gonna go outside and look. There could be somebody living in, and it's crazy because it's true. Like it could be somebody living in Idaho, and they're like, "Oh my God, here comes these gangs, these Mexican gangs across the border." They're not even near the border.
That's another, like I'm saying, when you live in fucking bigger cities and where there's, instead of rural communities, it's easier to have seen those people, to have been around the different cultures. You don't.
That's why bigger cities are more liberal.
Democratic. Yeah.
Yeah, because they have to be. You're living with. Heck, remember San Diego, or even New York, anywhere is LA. Wherever you walk, you're not going to see the same people unless you live in that little bunch.
Yeah, it's like
and even then, it's being gentrified.
Sure is. The thing in California is I got no problem when I drive around in a city and I see fucking like 4 different kind of language signs. You know what I mean? There's one in Spanish, one in English, one in Vietnamese, one in fucking Chinese, and one in fucking Dutch or whatever. You know what I mean? We're okay with that. I'm not going to be pissed if I hear somebody speaking a different language around me through the whole thing. This is America. We speak American.
And that's the thing. That's what's going on now with the everybody's only sticking to their own because they can do that online.
That's what I'm saying. Right back to that. They're dividing us even further. We take comfort in being around our own, and when we don't have any conflict of any idea or agree.
We take comfort in being divided because we're not thinking of being divided. They're just doing it.
It's fun because
we're not being divided. We're uniting with the real truth.
No, look how much fun as humans we have. This circles back to my original point, and I'm glad we're here. The people that Donald Trump targeted were the football fans. Well, because it's the football fans and it's the wrestling fans. They're juggalos, dude. That's who they're going after fanatic. So the more fanatics they are, the more they are to harvest. You know,
it's like those people who say that the United States is a Christian nation. I mean, you go. It's not a Christian fucking nation.
It's Irish Catholic, homie. Black.
But even if you look at most of the people in Europe when they do surveys, they don't really get pissed off because they won't even talk about religion really amongst themselves. They don't even get pissed about religion really. Like I said, they've been at it so long with so many different cultures that it's almost common to them. Not almost, it is common to them. With us here, unless you're living in a bigger city or something like that, you're kind of used to it. You don't go for those extremes. You learn that we're kind of all working here. We're not so divided. We're Americans to a point, and these people know the real American is this. Well, then you fucking don't know what being an American is. That's the whole thing.
I'm thinking.
Go ahead.
No, we're American. It means what to certain people?
It doesn't mean shit. It just means it's about you can choose what it means. It doesn't fucking matter what it means,
There's no.
Anyone's trying to tell you what America means is just trying to sell you some shit.
No, that's America. Or that's what America became. That's what America became. It became the product.
It's the blood. It's what you use. The bleeding heart patriot. That's what you're selling. When you say America,
nationalism and patriotism. There is a difference.
It's just like God. The same thing. It's a new religion. And these people are wrestling fans.
That's what Abraham Lincoln said.
These people are wrestling fans. These people that are
exactly
football fans. These
people
fanatics.
Were already primed for it
because
they
were primed. They were primed by religion,
juggalos.
By their parents.
They're fucking juggalos, dude. They're gonna wear the fucking shoes, drink the fucking Faygo soda. They're gonna do everything that they're told that they need to do to be a fan.
But as soon as you go after anything they believe in, then it's a problem. You know what I mean? It's like with the whole, like Atlanta again, with the whole baseball game. They're moving it somewhere else. Everybody said, well, fuck you. Even Coca-Cola came out and said that shit. And all of a sudden, the fucking governor, I think the governor of Georgia, came out and said, like, shut the fuck up. You're in a capitalist system. Of course we're going to go where they keep the fucking consumer happier.
Yeah, dude. Yeah.
Well, this guy
right now
was acting like the governor was acting like they're being attacked. But this guy signed with like 8 other white dudes underneath a portrait of a plantation in the governor's house, signed this bill to restrict it.
And at the same time, somebody handed him a bottle of water at the same time while he was signing.
You know what I mean? It's just it's crazy to me that it's probably sad because he probably doesn't see it. He might not. It's been so ingrained. You know what I mean? It's probably so ingrained.
Dude, no. His constituents may have that cognition, but he don't. Boy, he knows. So you can't. You don't get to be that. You don't get to be like that because you lack cognitive dissonance. He damn well knows it. Because that's why he knows how to work that shit. That's why he can go up there and say it like so good. He knows what he's doing. No way he doesn't know.
It's a politician. That's all salesmanship. That's all recruiting there, buddy. It's all
they
there.
Know. They still know. They still know. They get briefed.
But they got to find the right guy. They have to find either an empty vessel or one that's already full with what they want.
But I'm just saying they know, man. Just like you say, like if you get recruited, you already wanted to join. You know, these fuckers
I think that's
already.
The thing with QAnon. It's the easiest recruitment tool because to them every door is an entrance.
They're ready to go. You already know they're the fanatic.
And there's so many people that are opening. They're pushing for that door. They're looking for the handle. When you're online, Facebook is pushing you to that door because it could be anything. You can look up, I don't know, spaceships, or you can look up astronomy. I mean, you can look up, and you start talking about stars, then you start talking about space, then they start talking about aliens, then talk about and then
the one thing
they
that
slowly push you in.
The one thing that I'm always the one person that I have a problem with the most is the person that goes, "No, I know this." Especially when you're talking about like politics or philosophy or shit like that, you close yourself off to, I found the answer, I know the answer. No, you fucking don't. We're working on the answer. The answer is always changing. There is no answer, basically. Times change. I mean, the whole people that were against like black people being able to vote, women being able to vote, gay people being able to marry each other, shit like that. It becomes so like, no, we had it right already. Why are you fucking doing this to it? Because time changes, people change, culture changes. We haven't found the answer. We're never going to be at 100%.
Yeah.
It's just those people that aren't willing to go forward a bit. They're so inculcated.
That's the beauty of QAnon. QAnon's selling you the answer, but at the same time, they're saying they don't know because it could change. They're working both sides of the table.
Well, there's no answer.
I mean?
That's the thing. No, but it's so, what do you call it?
Do the research.
And then they tell you to only go to one site. They don't tell you.
No, but that's the thing. They probably don't even go to that site. They know the guy that told them the same thing. You know what I mean?
They tell you that everything's fake, right? Everything's fake.
QAnon is like a speedball with heroin. You know what I mean? Because you get both. You go in both sides. You can go in as you hate Democrats, or you go in as you hate the government. You can go in as you hate the businesses because they have everything covered. Think about it. They don't like elites. They don't like big business.
Yeah, no,
They don't like
big
the
tech,
lower
they
workers.
talk about that
especially
kind of
big
shit.
tech.
They talk about the shit like, oh, they hate this, they hate that. And you know, when I really like think of it, I'm like, you know, you sound like a fucking Democrat, really. You talk about certain things like that. They're like, oh, we really don't like big business. Oh, we don't like so much of this. We need our
Yeah,
rights.
they don't see that. They don't see that at
No,
all, dude. Like
no.
I've tried to like hit them with
Oh,
that,
our
like
taxes,
with that
our
pushback.
taxes are being wasted. Well, go ahead, George. Sorry.
I'm just saying, like they that irony is kind of lost on them. Even when you bring it up, it's kind of like I gotta think about that because and people are bringing it up more and more that because they see it. Because we're all kind of live time talking with our right wing friends right now, and it's not like and like Eric said, it's the fanatics already. So it's already your weird friend.
Well,
But your weird friend went from flat Earth to fucking Donald Trump to fucking a cabal to the election was stolen. To whatever they got. And they're gonna keep hitting them.
It's easier to say like, well, it's these people, it's those people, when in reality, it's more like, well, let's get at somewhere else. You don't want to take the blame, or you're part of that problem. You want to say, oh, those guys are part of the problem. It's not us, them. You're washing it over without really realizing that you're in this. You're part of it too. You can't move yourself off from it. You're allowing this just like everybody else in your circle.
But you're woke. You're woke in the Q sense.
Yeah,
that's what I'm telling you.
That red pill woke you up.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
There's a red pill and there's a blue pill, and they're both extreme. The only thing with QAnon,
no. If you take
no. There's those people that think that don't take the pill, and they're okay. Oh, see, it's not my fault. Because yes, it is your fucking fault because you're not willing to participate. You're worse than the left or the right.
No, stop.
Just sitting there
with that.
Huh?
They don't know.
No, it's true.
They're ignorant though.
There's people that
don't
want to follow politics.
Yeah,
there's people that don't want to follow. That's a political affiliation. By not doing politics, you're actually making a political statement.
Yeah,
I would disagree with that.
You can look at. I have a book. I'll show it to you.
That's great, but
that's an actual.
It's if you're sitting there not watching it, going like, well, I don't want to be part of that. Well, what if the Nazis were this? But what if they didn't do this? I mean, if they didn't come after those people, they're Nazis. Well, yeah, but what if they didn't do this? And would you still think they're fucking Nazis?
We did that last week.
Yeah.
Basically. We did this last week. Remember with George and the Nazis and how we said that some people have some blame. Even if you're in the river, you know what I mean, or even if you're watching the river, you're still part of it.
Yeah,
because
I was going more to the like.
But see, the word you're using, there's a word. Shit. Hold on, there's a word Eric used that's not there. You said watching. They're not watching. They don't even know what's happening.
That's different.
They won't know what's happening until it shows up on their door.
Different. We're talking about like actual involvement, whether you can vote or not. If you choose not to vote, then that's kind of you're giving somebody the power.
You don't choose not to vote. You just don't do it.
Well,
you can't choose not to do something that you don't even know you can do. These people grow up in families. Look, Jehovah's Witnesses, for example. Jehovah's Witnesses are not allowed to vote. They're not allowed to give blood. They're not allowed to celebrate Christmas or birthdays. So that means they don't get to go hang out with their coworkers ever.
Yeah, but they still see that and they still choose not.
The kids. We're talking about what about their kids? And what about their kids' kids?
What
about these kids that grow up surrounded?
I was raised Catholic. They stopped taking me to church after I started talking. I got baptized, and that was as far as
they don't have that choice. These kids don't have that choice. They didn't give me Jehovah's Witnesses get raised up this way. I can understand the parents.
You get to a certain age, is what I'm telling you. You get to a certain age when you can get yourself out of it. It's not the easiest thing to do because that's the thing you grew up with. That's the normal. That's the normalcy of your life. So why it's harder to go into the deeper end or whatever the Jehovah's Witnesses want to call it.
Yeah.
Do you guys remember the movie 28 Days Later?
Sorta.
The one with where there's like where everything's quarantined. He thinks the world's over, but it's just England. So it's like they're like he's out there.
That's
and,
where
like, they're
the
trying
birth
to.
rate drops, and he's trying to take the girl that's pregnant or something. No, that's the difference.
Yeah,
No,
that's
that's
it.
no, that's. I don't know that's pregnant. That's a
It's
bad
just
There
a
was
little
one
movie.
girl.
girl that was like the birth rate started dropping everywhere else.
Yeah, that's
No.
a great movie with Clive Owen. That's Children of Men.
Oh, okay.
No,
Okay,
28
so that girl
weeks
wasn't
later,
pregnant.
28 days later.
No, I've seen that movie. Yeah, that's the one where
28
like the
days
army
later
guys
is
and they try to rape her and the other little girl and they have to escape. Yeah.
Because they think it's the end of the world. So all this stuff is going on. When he realizes that the world's different is when he looks up in the sky and he sees a fucking plane go overhead. All of a sudden he's like, oh shit, there is still these Jehovah's Witnesses, these people that George is claiming don't know. They have to know. It's just when you work, you get your taxes taken away. Obviously, you're
willful ignorance.
now. If you want to keep your head down and not look up for the plane, then you're making the choice. The people that you're trying to defend by ignorance, most of it's willful ignorance because they live in unless they live out like the village. Even the village was a choice because the parents made them stay out there. That was the choice. Maybe the kids didn't think there was a choice, but I mean, after a while, you got to question it.
And you're telling me those people
like, where
are
the fuck are
somehow
these monsters?
worse? Those guys
No,
are a
they're
bigger
not
threat
worse.
to our
They're not
democracy
worse.
than
They're not worse. They just need to be part of it. They need to participate because if you're not participating, then you're part of it. It's like
I never said they.
like
I never said
before.
they shouldn't participate.
Well, no,
I
right?
just
You
said they're
yourself
not
should.
worse.
Should
I'm
be
just saying the people that don't know what's going on are in no way worse than the people that are actually doing bad stuff on purpose, taking advantage of dumb people like them.
It's like being on the bus and seeing somebody.
It's like blaming the victim.
The minority. It's telling the minority.
It doesn't
You're sitting right there and watching
for
it go
policy,
down.
you know.
Sitting
Like,
right there and watching it break down, and you'd rather not get into the conflict of it because
they don't know there's conflict. Is what I'm saying. They don't even know. They like you're talking
globalization.
About can you not know?
Globalization.
That's what I'm telling you. They don't know. I don't care how. There's a bunch of different ways. It depends how. Like you can have a family that your dad's a redneck, doesn't like God though, but he's a redneck, and you live in a trailer. And
you go out and participate.
You don't. He doesn't. There's no TV. There's no TV hardly.
At home.
You're homeschooled.
Your cousins and your aunts and uncles, so you never leave the farm.
Basically, yeah.
Okay, well then.
And then there's, but that's one form. And then there's also like, okay, you're poor and you're black in the inner city. Okay, well then you're poor and you're black in the inner city, you know, and you're kind of just raised around a bunch of people who are, you know, not very involved and very engaged in this stuff. And then the
whole point that you're in the
you choose not to. You're around it.
You're in the inner city. That tells you. I mean, you're going to see the different levels, different classes.
You understand?
Same with the farm. No.
You see it. Your eyes see it. Your brain sees it. Their brains don't. They're not looking for it.
They don't process it. They'd rather not see it. How don't they see it?
You can see something, but not see layers. Like they're not going to walk into the streets and be like, that's a proletariat, that's the bourgeois, that's this, that's that. Like they're not looking at it through these lenses. They're looking at it through lenses that are hungry, that have abusive family. You know, it's their perspective on life is different. And you somehow want to believe. You want to say these people who are the victim or these people are actually worse. They're actually worse than the people.
I'm not saying
I didn't say they were worse.
You absolutely said. You can rewind the tape.
Okay. If I said it, then I was wrong.
No, Eric said it. You didn't. Eric said that they're actually worse than the left and the right. And before he said it, they're actually worse than the Nazis. You said worse.
I brought up the Nazis.
No, you said worse.
I brought up
you both might be on record for saying that people who aren't engaged civically are worse than the people.
I said something along those lines.
You both have.
I said people just sitting there.
George is bringing up. Wait. If we said it, we're right. George is bringing up some fictional fucking farm guy that fucking lives.
I was asked for an example, sir. I was asked for an example, and I gave it.
Yeah, but that example
a very
doesn't
minute.
I can find you sources.
If you live in a trailer park, if you live in a trailer park, say I don't know in the south,
you're like that guy that says the
vaccine have to pay for gas.
1% of the people actually end up with problems with it.
There's 7% of the U.S. population. 7% of the U.S. population does not have internet or have ever used internet.
So
that has nothing to do with internet.
I mean, you're talking about 0001s, and it's
I'm
not
talking about the
broken
people
down
that
to
you're talking. No, I'm
001s.
talking about the people you're pointing out.
That's what I'm saying. They're not 00001. Like,
They
remember,
are.
only
Those people that
only
stay within
50% of the
that
population
go like
vote.
this the whole time, just keep
50% don't
blinders
vote.
on.
They're not keeping blinders on. They don't know. You're talking about people who, oh, this is fucked up. I don't care. That's a different person. I'm talking about people who do not know. A bunch of people are just ignorant. They do not know. That's what I'm telling you.
Maybe I'm ignorant because I can't see how you can sit there at a fucking fruit stand and say, like, we don't sell fruit.
I don't know, but they do.
No, there's no way. Unless they're mentally retarded. Because obviously you have to get electricity from somewhere. Obviously you have to go get food from somewhere. This trailer park guy doesn't have a fucking garden in his backyard.
Do you remember that Juggalo